This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And yes, on this day in 2019, Canada got their first championship in almost 26 years as a team in the Big Four leagues: baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. The last time Canada got a title was the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays, and I was 8 years old when that happened. You do the math with the Raptors winning the title in Golden State in Game 6. I was 34 years old. Long time coming, don't you think? So anyway, one of the most proudest moments of my life as a Canadian sports fan happened. And it's easy to see why. I mean, after all, seeing your hometown team, well, technically it's not my hometown, but, you know, who cares, right? Some people do care, some people don't care. But anyway, the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship. That's all that matters. I'll give you a run through to the 2019 playoffs and all that. Talk about things. So, strap yourselves in. We're ready to go. Let's get ready to go. So the 2019 NBA Finals happened. As we all know, Toronto beat Golden State in 6 games to win the title. The first NBA championship by a team not in America. And Kawhi Leonard, who was in that major trade in the 2018-19 season, was named MVP of the NBA Finals for the second time in his career. He was the 2014 MVP for what he did with the Spurs. This was the first time the Raptors had been in the NBA Finals. In fact, Golden State, this was the first time in their dynasty run of the 2010s that they didn't have home court advantage. They were 57-25, yes, but they were one behind Toronto's 58 wins. And the Warriors and Cavs did not meet in the championship round. They met 4 times in the finals, Warriors winning 3 of them, but basically Cleveland finally didn't make it through. This was the first final since 2010 not to include LeBron James. Well, LeBron didn't even make the playoffs that year with the Lakers. So anyway, in 2019 was the first time since 2007 a team made its finals debut. So yeah. So there was a lot of backgrounds. First, for the Golden State Warriors. During the offseason, Golden State decided to get DeMarcus Cousins, who was pretty good with Sacramento, but injuries ruined him. Basically, he was given a minimum contract by a veteran. So anyway, he gave the Warriors a true top-flight center under Steve Kerr. However, Draymond Green was upset over Kevin Durant's antics. Anyway, Cousins came back from injury in January 2019, and the Warriors actually did pretty well. They ended up winning 57 games and winning the top seed in the Western Conference. In the playoffs, they took care of the Clippers in 6 games. They could have swept the Clippers, but basically they blew a couple of big leads at home. Cousins tore his left quad, and people thought he was out for the remainder of the playoffs. Kerr decided to put Andre Iguodala, my favorite Warrior, move him from the bench to the starting lineup against Houston and all that. With the Splash Brothers struggling with their shooting, that being Curry and Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant basically was stepping up to the plate, averaging 35 points a game. Unfortunately, Durant left Game 5 of the series against Houston with a strained right calf, and he was out indefinitely. Thankfully, though, Curry and Thompson put up good numbers and got to the conference finals against Portland, where they swept them. They even came back from 15 points or more down 3 times, which was amazing. Iguodala had a sore left calf injury and missed a few games. But Curry put up 36.5 a game against the Trailblazers, the highest average for a player in a 4-game sweep in NBA history. Golden State was headed to their 5th straight finals, and they were looking for a 3-peat. With their 5th straight finals, they would join Boston as the only squad to do that. Boston did that from 57 to 66. Meanwhile, Toronto had problems of their own. The Raptors fired Dwayne Casey, even though he was named NBA Coach of the Year weeks later, mostly because the Raptors couldn't get by LeBron in Cleveland. And they put him with assistant coach Nick Nurse. They also made that big trade that sent DeMar DeRozan to San Antonio for Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. And a lot of Raptor fans were upset that DeMar DeRozan was basically the franchise player and they traded him for Kawhi, a guy who could be injured and all that. But remember, Kawhi was basically upset with the Spurs organization for not putting him to play. It was a risky move. However, Kawhi would be systematically rested for games. Other than that, he was fine. And before the trade deadline, Toronto decided to trade a package that included Jonas Valanciunas to Memphis for Marc Gasol. It was basically a good post defender. Toronto got some good forwards and all that. The Raptors lost game 1 of the first round to the Orlando Magic. But Toronto always did this. They always lost the first game of a round. And then they pounced on the Magic in four straight games after that. The Raptors would take on the Sixers, who basically ruined their chances for their best run to the final in 2001, thanks to that Game 7 Vince Carter missed shot. However, in Game 7, as I did in a previous Sports Catastrophe, Kawhi Leonard's big shot bounced on the rim 4 times before falling in. The first buzzer beater in a Game 7 ever. Toronto would face Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals. They were down 2-0, but the turning point was a double overtime win over the Milwaukee Bucks to win Game 3, and then they win the next 3, so they can make from 0-2 down to win the next 4. As Kawhi basically took care of Giannis Antetokounmpo. So yeah, Toronto was the 2 seed behind Milwaukee. Golden State was number 1, and all that. So Toronto had a tougher time. They lost 6 times in the first 3 rounds, whereas Golden State only lost 4. Raptors won a massive overtime game against Golden State on their turf that was broadcast by TNT and had good ratings. Toronto then crushed Golden State in Golden State a few weeks later after that. So anyway, the Raptors and the Warriors were ready to go. Now, before we get to Game 1 and talk about the 2018 series, let's talk about some personal stuff. I know it may be self-serving, but basically this must be said. So the Raptors always had this thing of basically being high and mighty and basically, they'll go far and they'll be stars. I, on the other hand, kind of have the same feeling. Now, since 2015, at that time, I was unemployed. I still had chances to get jobs. And basically, due to some bad luck and some admitted being close-minded, if you will, that didn't happen. The Raptors always got shut down. I always got shut down from getting a job. But then something weird happened. The Raptors were on a decent playoff run. And by the time that the Raptors and Bucks the Raptors and the Sixers were finishing up their 7-game epic series, I was nervous. Twofold. 1, because, the Raptors in Game 7, I would, who wouldn't be nervous? And 2, is that the next day, after Game 7, I had a job interview with a nursery. Well, nursery as in a garden center and all that, not with babies. Can't stand kids. But anyhow, so basically, Kawhi shot went in, and it was heart pounding for me. I mean, can't believe it. And then the next day, I go in for my job interview. They offer me a job right off the bat. Although it was only 2 days a week for 5 hours, with 10 paid hours. 10 is better than 0. So for the first time in 4 years, I got a paying job. Although I got to admit that I wish I had went to Sheridan Nurseries in 2015, after losing my job at Target, and basically tried there, because maybe my luck would have been better. However, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Anyway, so when the Raptors were playing the Bucks in Game 3 of the conference finals, that was on Sunday. 2 days after that, I was starting work and all that. So basically, when I started work, that was when the Raptors went unbelievable. The Raptors went a combined 7-2 while I was working at Sheridan, meaning they won game 3, 4, 5, 6 against the Bucks, and then they won their 4 games. No, game 4, 5, 6, and then the 4 wins in the series. Anyhow, this is huge. So the Raptors were hosting Golden State. It was amazing to see that the Raptors were hosting a series. And basically, Pascal Siakam, Spicy P, was the hero with a 32-point performance. He led the Raptors to the 118-109 win over Golden State. Siakam was actually named the most improved player that season. It was amazing and all that. Leonard had 23 points, and Gasol had 20 for the Raptors. Curry put up 34 for the Warriors. Golden State was in a position they were never in their 4 finals appearances. They were down 0-1. They always won game 1. Cousins actually came off the bench after his quad injury and all that. So anyway, Durant could not play and all that. So anyway, game 2 happened. And it looked good for the Raptors, winning by 5 at the half to go up 2-0. But the Warriors were resilient, especially the third quarter. The Warriors outscored the Raptors 18-0 to start the second half to win 109-104. Thompson did pretty good for themselves. All that. Thompson ended up injuring himself, landing awkwardly on a 3-point attempt and all that. Iguodala was the hero, hitting a 3 ball at the buzzer with 5.9 seconds left to finish the game off. Curry would finish with 23 points, but Klay Thompson had 25 to lead the team. Kawhi had 34 to lead the Raptors. Siakam went ice cold, even though that he was the game 1 star. Game 3 happened. And the Raptors won every quarter. They outscored the Warriors in every quarter and won by 14, 123-109. The Warriors were kind of short-handed. Curry did score 47 points, though, but basically it was just him and all that. Golden State didn't have Thompson, Durant, or even their backup center, Looney. Kyle Lowry put up 5 3-pointers, and Danny Green put up 6 3-pointers, which was amazing. Every starter got double digits, and Van Fleet put up 11 points off the bench. Then Toronto had a chance. They took on Golden State. Golden State had a 6-point lead, had a lead in the half, but Toronto used their third quarter to their advantage, outscoring them 37-21 on their way to a 105-92 win. Kawhi put up 36 points and 12 rebounds. Serge Ibaka put up 20 points off the bench, which is good. Klay Thompson came back from injury to score 28 points. However, it wasn't all good news for the Raptors, as Fred VanVleet needed 7 stitches in the fourth quarter after Sean Livingston inadvertently elbowed him in the face. But he looked good. Curry put up 27, Thompson put up 28. They're the only guys to put up double digits. Then Game 5 happened, and all Canada was ready to celebrate a title. The Warriors, though, had a good first quarter and were up by 6 through the first, second, and third quarters. The Raptors came close, but they lost 106-105. Curry put up 31, Thompson put up 26. Durant returned from missing after his calf injury and scored 11 points in the first quarter. However, he suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon, and basically that was it for Durant and all that. Kawhi tried to take control of the game in the fourth quarter, and Kyle Lowry had a 3-point shot to win the game. Nope, he missed. Golden State's 23-pointers were the second most in NBA's finals history, behind Cleveland's 24 in 2017. Cousins did good, and Draymond Green did good. Leonard put up 26 points to lead the Raptors. Gasol and Lowry did pretty good too. So anyway, Durant had to undergo surgery to repair the tendon and all that. Durant would be involved in a sign and trade to the Brooklyn Nets following Durant's injury cost him a season. But basically, it's helped out. Brooklyn's doing pretty well. Nurse was actually criticized for Toronto for taking a timeout when Toronto was up by 6 points. Anyway, now the NBA admitted they screwed up, as they said that DeMarcus Cousins got away with a shooting foul on Gasol, which would have given Gasol 2 free throws when the Raptors were down by 3 points. So anyway, on to Game 6. Raptors Warriors. It was nervous time. But Kawhi put up 22 points to be named NBA Finals MVP as the Raptors took down Golden State 114-110 to claim his first championship in history. Thompson put up 30 points, but unfortunately he landed awkwardly while shooting a basket and suffered a torn ACL in his left knee. The Warriors were trying to be in the game. They almost did it. Curry had a 3-point shot with a few seconds left, but missed. Golden State called a timeout, trying to secure the ball after the miss, but they were given a technical foul because they had no timeouts. Leonard was given a few free throws, and basically that was it. 114-110. The Raptors won. Lowry and Siakam were the heroes of Game 6, both scoring 26 points. Van Fleet put up 22 points off the bench. Iguodala did pretty well with 22 points. Klay Thompson, 30 points. But basically, other than that, nothing. So Kawhi's 28.5 points per game were good, and joined Kareem and LeBron James as the only players to be named Finals MVP with 2 different teams. Kareem for Milwaukee 1971 and the Lakers, I don't know when, but anyway. LeBron James for Cleveland / Miami. So anyway, Toronto was the first Canadian team to win the NBA title and the first non-American team to win any of the Big Four titles since the Blue Jays in 1993. The Warriors would finish their career at the Oracle Arena or the San Francisco Oakland Coliseum. They would move to San Francisco and the Chase Center at the beginning of the 2019-20 season. The Warriors were 0-3 on home turf in the series. Not too good, if you ask me. So anyway, yeah, so Golden State had injury problems of the yin-yang and all that. But here were the heroes for your Toronto Raptors. From Indiana, number 3, OG Anunoby. From Oregon, number 25, Chris Boucher. From Spain, number 33, Marc Gasol. From North Carolina, number 14, Danny Green. From Congo, number 9, Serge Ibaka. From San Diego State, number 2, Kawhi Leonard. From Harvard, number 17, Jeremy Lin. From Villanova, number 7, Kyle Lowry. From Indianapolis University, number 8, Jordan Lloyd. Was he in the final? I don't know. From UNLV, number 1, Patrick McCaw. From Kentucky, number 20, Jody Meeks. From Holy Cross, number 13, Malcolm Miller. Was he in the final? I don't remember seeing him. From Oregon State, number 15, Eric Moreland. I don't know if he was in the final. From UCLA, number 24, Norman Powell. From New Mexico State, number 43, Pascal Siakam. And from Wichita State, number 23, Fred VanVleet. So, yeah. Oh, I guess Malcolm Miller did play some minutes. So did Jeremy Lin and Jody Meeks. Okay. YouTube TV. Basically, YouTube TV got a sponsorship. So, yeah. So, the finals was televised on ABC and all that. However, Canada had viewership. Anyway, Sportsnet and TSN went in a rotation for rights holders. Sportsnet did games 1, 3, 5, and would have done game 7. TSN was 2, 4, 6, and all that. So yeah, so CTV2 had a few games. Game 6 was simulcast on CTV, which was huge because that's the national network. CTV simulcast games 3 and 5. All that. Viewership was huge in a sense. So anyway, this was huge. This was really huge. The ratings were okay, I guess, 7.5 for American. Remember, these are American ratings. An estimated 18.3 million people watched Game 6 of the finals for an average of 14.9 million. Not bad. In Canada, the average for the 6 games, 5.02 million, with 7.7 million Canadians watching Game 6 on average, which was amazing. 7 million Canadians. TSN said that there was 15.9 million unique viewers watching some point of the telecast, and almost 10 million in the final minute. And 82% of the viewers in the Toronto Hamilton market watched the game on TSN, which is pretty good. And then, of course, we all know about the Victory Parade, June 17th. It was amazing and all that. It was huge. It was 2 million fans who came down Toronto. Well, obviously, the parade was actually delayed 3 hours because of the excessive crowds and all that. There was actually some shootings during the parade victory speeches. The shootings wounded 4 people and caused a stampede. 3 suspects were arrested. So it was hard to believe that Canada got a title in the first place. I mean, honestly. But I'll say this much. Watching Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals was a joy for me. I got to spend it at my good buddy Bill Lang's house. Earlier in the day of Game 6, I had to go get my eyes checked. Thankfully, though, I didn't need new glasses. And ironic as it is, tomorrow, June 14th, I go for an eye appointment. I go every other year because in Ontario, you're only covered every other year or whatever. Because you're past 18, you have to go every other year. Unless it's an eye emergency, then you must go every year. So anyway, yeah, I go to the eye appointment. My mom drops me off at my house at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then by 6 o'clock, I head over to my buddy's house. That was when I walked to his house and not bussed. Because now that I work at Canadian Tire and I need a bus pass, I use that bus pass to go to his house. So basically, yeah, it was amazing. It was heartwarming and all that. So anyway, the Toronto Raptors won the championship, and I couldn't be prouder of myself because I ended up getting a job, and then I ended up having the Raptors win the title. I thought this would be basically the sky's the limit. In a sense, it was. However, Sheridan only needed me for the summer, so they cut me loose after 3 months. However, 4 days later, after my last day at Sheridan, I started my new job at Shoppers Drug Mart. But they basically gave me the rub, and after 4.5 months, I was out of that job too. It took a month and a half before I got my Canadian Tire job in March of 2020, and still there now, so that's 15 months there continuously, and that's the 3rd time I've done that. The next benchmark will be trying to beat that 22 months I was at Target. That won't happen until January 2022. I have a long way to go before I surpass my seller's total of 6+ years. But we'll see what happens. So anyway, the Raptors seem to really slow down because of the COVID-19 thing. I guess we can claim COVID-19 for why the Raptors are starting to suck now. But, there are a lot of other factors too. But, I like to think that way. And no, I'm not really upset over the Raptors not making the playoffs and all that. I mean, we have a title. The Leafs, on the other hand, but why can't we get a title with them? Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Diamond. Ado.